Hi everyone and welcome to my North Knit Corner. My name is Anne and I come to you from the south of Norway. Here I live with my husband and our three boys, that is 8, 15 and 17 years old. And this is my little corner of the internet where I get to talk about my love for yarn, my love for knitting. And if you love knitting and yarn as much as I do, I hope that you have time to sit down and find your craft, find something good to drink, and spend a few minutes with me while I talk about what I have finished since last time and what is on my needles. So you are so welcome if you have been here before, and welcome if you're here for the first time. I hope that you will like it here. I will have information about everything I talk about in the description box below. And I will, of course, have timestamps on this episode for you. So I will take a sip of my coffee and then we can talk about my finished projects. If you are a returning viewer, I'm sure you've already seen what my first FO is. And it's of course what I'm wearing, and it's the Eva Cardigan by Petite Knit. It's all done. And as I've talked about in several of my episodes, I don't like this yarn. It's Drops Charisma, and I don't like this color. The color is number 40, light old pink. And it's a yarn that I've had in my stash for several years. When I bought this yarn, I loved the color, and I bought it for another cardigan that I never ended up knitting, and this yarn has just been lying in my shelf for several years, and now I just needed to knit it up and get it out of my stash. I was so tired of looking at that yarn. But I have knitted the Eva Cardigan, as I said, in size medium on needles 3.5 and 4mm needles, US 4 and 6. And I have only 4 grams left of this yarn now, so I'm so happy to have it out of my shelf. I never have to see it again, except in this cardigan, of course. But the yarn was very rough and very hard to knit with, and it felt really dry, and I didn't enjoy it at all. But I just pushed on because I really wanted to knit it up. But I'm happy to say that when I washed it and blocked it and everything, it feels a lot more softer. So it's very nice to wear now. So that is good at least, but I still don't like this color. I tried really hard to like this color again, because I did at one point when I bought it, of course, but I don't like it at all. So I think this will be a gift for someone else who maybe hopefully can wear it and love it, because I really want this cardigan. I want the Eva Cardigan because I like it. I like how it looks. I like the shape of it. I like everything about it, almost. I will tell you one thing that I don't like. But yeah, I want it in another color, a darker one, maybe navy blue or something like that, but not this color. So this will be a gift, I think. And one thing I really like about this cardigan is the button band. I think it's really nice. I like it that it's a thick button band, but the thing I don't like is that I don't like how it looks in the neck or the back. It's too wide here, but of course to get this wide button band, it will also be wide here because you knit this all together. So I don't know what to do about that if I knit it again. I mean, there's not much to do, I guess. But I have knitted the size medium. Usually for petite knits patterns, I choose the size small because I don't like all of that positive ease that she puts into her patterns most of the time. But when I started on this, I started on the size small, but I felt like that was going to be a little bit too small for me. So I decided to go for the medium instead. Maybe I could just have knitted the small, because I have a lot of positive ease in this. So maybe small would be okay. I don't know. So maybe next time I knit it because I really want to knit it. I will go for the small. We'll see. I will think about it. But that's my Eva cardigan. It weighs 537 grams. So I've used up pretty much everything of this yarn, and I'm so happy. And I've sewn buttons on. I'm not very good at sewing buttons. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't ever feel like I get to place them right, but I think it's okay. Yeah. So I had some buttons in my sewing box that I bought off eBay many years ago. So I thought they looked okay. So I just sew that on. So that's the Eva cardigan. I guess this is the one and only time I will wear it, and I will give it away or something. Yeah. But I will knit it again for sure. The next finished project today is the porcelain sweater. Sadly, I don't have it here to show you, but I will put up some pictures for you. I knitted that for a friend, and she was very eager to have it. Of course, I understand. So I let her have it, and I just want to show you some pictures of it. The porcelain sweater is by Lene Holme Samsø, Lenit. And I've knitted this sweater in Sandnes Tynn Per Gynt and Sandnes Tynn Silk Mohair. And if you want the color numbers, the main color, Sandnes Per Gynt, was the 2641 Nature color, and together with one strand of mohair, 1012 Nature, and the colorwork color was in 2652 mid brown heather. That's the Per Gynt, and the mohair is 3880 chocolate. Yeah, and I've knitted this also on 3.5 and 4mm needles, US 4 and 6. I knitted the size medium. It weighs 368 grams, and last time, I think it was last time I talked to you, I was unsure about the color work that I had done after I connected in the round, because you can knit it either bottom up or top down. If you knit the bottom up version, you have to steek for the arms, and I didn't want to do that. So I knitted the top down, but then you have to knit color work on the wrong side as well. But someone told me that you can knit, that it's so hard to explain in English for me. You can knit on the right side, but do it backwards. So you knit this way, right? I guess it will be the other way for you. Yeah, but you can knit back with the right side facing you, and you don't have to like do color work on the wrong side of the work. So that was a great way to do it, and I can highly recommend it. And I found a tutorial on YouTube for it. The one I found was in Norwegian, but I'm sure if you just watched it, you could find out and look how she does it without needing any instruction with talking. Yeah. Okay, but when I knitted back on the right side, I was knitting very loose. And normally I knit color work a little tight, so I often go up a needle size for my color work. But I was knitting so loosely when I did it this way, so I didn't go up for that. And so I forgot that when I connected this in the round, and I can knit it round and round, I forgot to go up a needle size for that. So it was tight. And I wasn't sure how if I should rip back and just do it again on a bigger needle size. But I asked my friend who I was knitting for if she thought I should do that, because I would happily do it again. But she said, no. Of course she did. No. So I just continued and knitted the whole sweater, and I put it in the wash, and I lay it flat to dry. And I'm so happy to report that it looks good. Everything, the color work really relaxed, and it looks very even and nice now. So I'm so happy with that, and I didn't have to rip back and do it again. So she's very happy with the sweater, so I'm very happy. And the only thing is I'm not so happy with the pickup of the sleeves. I did that several times, but when you knit like I did, knit back on the right side, you get a lot of threads because you have to cut the yarn a few times to make it work. And so the stitches on the edge wasn't so neat because you had the loose ends you had to weave in, and then it wasn't a good line or good stitches to pick up in, if that makes sense. So it's very nice on the top, but here with the color work it's not as even and nice, but I just wasn't able to get that nice. So that is the thing that is not great with this, the way that I did the color work. But all in all, it looks very good. She's very happy, so I'm happy, and I really want that porcelain sweater for myself. So maybe I will knit it for myself in the future, we'll see. But it was a lot of fun to get to knit it anyway. So yeah, and I learned a new technique, which is great. I always love to learn something new. Last weekend I was watching a podcast, and I can't for the life of me remember what podcast that was. That annoys me, but this person was talking about a designer called Mary P. Hunt, also called Hunt Hand Knits on Instagram, that she had several patterns with dinosaurs and other things. And I was just immediately thinking of my 8-year-old. He loves dinosaurs, and I had to pause this podcast and go straight to Ravelry and look up her patterns. And I saw a lot of fun patterns there. And there was also cowls with Kraken. I don't know if you've heard about Kraken, but I will show you Kraken in a minute. My son, if there's something he loves more than dinosaurs, I think it's Kraken. He just loves it. So I had to show him this cowl, and he was so excited, and he asked me if I could knit it for him, and of course I wanted to do that. So this cowl is meant to be knitted with 2 colors, but there was some, I assumed there was some test knitters, because it was on the pattern page for this pattern, that had knitted this cowl with 4 colors instead of 2. And of course, that is the cowl that my son wanted. He wanted exactly those 4 colors, because that was so cool. And of course, I said, of course, my sweet boy, you will get this cowl with 4 colors. Oh, I regretted it. I did. But we found some these colors in my stash, and I started to knit this cowl, and I will show it to you because it's done. So this is Kraken. He is taking a ship. Yes. So this is the Kraken Cowl by Mary P. Hunt, or Hunt Hand Knit. And I have knitted with 4 different colors. All was scraps in my stash. This dark blue is Dale Lille Lerke. In the color, have I written that down? Yes, 8100, and it's blue. The red one is 2 different yarns. One is a scrap that I was so lucky to get from a viewer of my Norwegian podcast. She sent me a lot of her scraps for my sweet shop blanket, and I had some red left, so I used that here together with a scrap from Mrs. Fox yarn that also was red. Yes, I can say this is knitted with DK weight, and I have used fingering held double for this. The light yarn here is my own hand-dyed yarn. I used 2 different colors that I had held together. The brown one for the ship is Drops Fabel colorway brown 300. Yeah, so that was all the colors I used. I thought that the blue here, Dale Lille Lerke, was Dale Lerke. Dale Lerke is the DK version, but actually this wasn't the DK version. This is Dale Lille Lerke, which is fingering weight. But I didn't know that before I started to write my notes for this episode. So I actually hold this single. And the rest is all fingering held double. But it worked out okay, so that's okay. But as you can see, I used 4 colors instead of 2 because in the original pattern you're supposed to have the same color on the ship and on Kraken. So the chart was of course only in 2 colors, and it made it really difficult to see where you're supposed to change color for the ship, since you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to have the same color throughout. So I had to go between the chart and the picture of the cowl that my son had wanted, the picture on the pattern page, to count stitches on the picture, try to see the stitches, and try to see where I had to change between the brown and the blue yarn. So that was time consuming and a bit of a challenge, but I did it for the most part. I've done some mistakes up here. There was supposed to be blue here. I don't know if I can show it to you. It's supposed to be blue here. But I thought it was a part of the ship. This was where I thought, okay, I understand it now. I don't have to check the picture. I should have done that. But it's okay. It looks like the ship has a flag or something. And that the Kraken's leg is coming up behind it. So it's okay. My son is really happy with this. He loves it. So I'm happy. I knitted this on 3 and 3.5 millimeter needles, US 2.5 and 4, and it weighs 136 grams. And as you can see, my son wanted red eyes on the Kraken, and that means that it's a very long floats behind this cowl. But I actually decided to cut the yarn every row because you do the chart 3 times around, and that would be very long floats if I was supposed to drag that red yarn with me all the way around, and I was afraid that it would be not look nice. So I had a lot of ends to weave in here. I can show it to you. It doesn't look very nice, but okay. Yeah. So there is a lot of long floats, and I was very nervous that it would be too tight. I tried to be as loose as I could when I did the floats, but it wasn't very easy. So down here, if you don't look at the eyes, but down here I only used 2 colors for a while, and it looks very nice and even. But up here I used a lot of colors, and so I can see that it's more tight up here than down here. But a wash and a block really did wonders on this project as well, and it looks a lot better now than it did. So all in all, I'm very happy with how this turned out. You can see Kraken, you can see the ship, and my son loves it. So I'm so happy with that. And since it's looser down here, and this is where you put, or this is going to be down on your neck, and this is on the top, it doesn't matter that it's a little bit tighter up here, I think. I really wanted to find some fleece yarn, not yarn, fleece fabric or another type of fabric, and try to sew it into this. Since it's a lot of floats in here, I don't want him to get caught in here in the yarn. You can see some of the floats are really long in here. So I tried to catch the floats, but I forgot sometimes, and the floats got really long. So yeah, I want to try to sew in a fabric or something in here. I've never sewn any fabric into my knitting before, so I don't know how to do that, but I will figure it out so that my boy can get this and use it, even though it's not the time of year to use a cowl now, but he can wear it if he wants to. I'm still knitting on the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. I've done a little bit of knitting on it, so I can quickly show you how much progress I have since last time. Before I recorded this episode, I recorded my Norwegian podcast. I had a progress keeper on this hat to show you how much knitting I had done since last time. But on my Norwegian podcast, I showed it to them, and I moved my stitch marker before I showed it to you. That was really stupid of me. I'm sorry. But I think I know roughly where I was or how much I have been knitting, so I will show it to you. I'm knitting with the yarn from Beehive Yarns. This color is called Cozy Up. And here it is. And here is my cute stitch marker. A little fox, which is of course very difficult to show you. But I've knitted roughly from here, I think. So quite a lot of knitting since last episode. This is just my out and about knitting right now. So yeah, it gets a few rows here and there. But I love the Musselburgh hat pattern. It's great. Highly recommend. I'm sure you already knitted it, but if you haven't, it's a very great hats pattern. So I found myself in the beginning of this week with only this hat on my needles. During the weekend, I finished the porcelain sweater, I finished this cardigan and the Kraken Cowl. I think I finished that on Sunday or Monday, I think. So I was just left with this on my needles, and it felt, of course I have a Cozy Memories blanket as well, but I never count that as a whip. That's a long-term project. But it felt really wrong to only have one thing on the needles, and I was desperately looking for something else to cast on. Not that I am in shortage of plans, because I have so many plans, but it's just to find the right project to start on. But I have a friend who is expecting a baby, and I want to knit her something. So I went into my Ravelry library and just looked at possibilities. I think it's nice to use some of the patterns I already have. So then I came across the Love Note pattern from Think and Knit. I've knitted a couple of those before, and I had totally forgotten that that pattern actually goes from baby up until adult. So then I decided that I wanted to find some yarn in my stash and knit a love note for this baby that is coming. So I actually found some of my leftovers from the Lace and Fade boxy that I decided to use. So I found these two colors. This one is from Garnbutikken Fortuna in the colorway Tronka, and this is from Mrs. Fox Yarn and it's called Pinecone. So I decided to knit these two together. What was I going to say? Yes, I am knitting the size 0 to 6 months on needles 4.5 and 6 millimeter needles, which are, what are that in US size? US 7 and 10. So that's the same needles recommended in the pattern. I'm a bit off gauge, I think. I think I'm a bit looser on the gauge, but I don't really care since it is for a baby. And if it gets a little bit bigger than it's supposed to, that's okay. The baby will grow into it, so that's okay. So I'm marling these two together, and I think it looks nice. I like how it looks. Here it is so far. Very cute, I think. And I really enjoy knitting Love Note. It goes by so fast, and especially since it's a little baby size. This I've knitted, I started the day before yesterday, and I've knitted other things too on those 2 days. And the body of this I just knitted in a few, 1 or 2 hours yesterday. It went by really fast. That's fun. What can I say? Love the lace on this. When I wash it, it will stretch out and look really nice. And I only have the arms left on this. So I think this will be a nice little baby gift. And I've told you before, I really want to have some socks on my needles at all times. There have been a few weeks without any socks on the needles because I had the porcelain sweater that I really wanted to finish. So I haven't allowed myself to cast on anything new before I was done with that. But I have another friend that really wants socks, and she's a knitter herself, but she has never knitted socks. So I told her I wanted to knit her some socks. And I am just knitting the Cozy Hygge socks by Ina Knits because they are such an easy and basic great pattern to knit It's 2x2 rib, which is great when you are knitting for someone else because it's very elastic. So I know the size she needs, but we are all different thickness around our ankles as well, so it's not always easy to knit socks anyway, even though you know the size. So a 2x2 rib is or ribbing is very nice to knit because it's very elastic. I just found more yarn from my stash because I'm really trying to use from my stash and my scraps. I think that is a lot of fun. And this pattern is knitted with 2 strands of fingering held double. Of course, you can knit with DK yarn as well, but that's the thought, that you can use up your scraps for these socks. So I found, this is not a scrap, this was a whole skein, but this is yarn that I have dyed myself. And I'm knitting 2 at a time, so I have divided it into 2 balls, and I'm knitting with a strand of Sandnes Sisu as well. And I can show you the socks first. So 1 strand of my yarn and 1 strand of Sandnes Sisu. Sandnes Sisu is a little bit thicker than normal fingering sock yarn, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. It looks good. Look at my cute giraffe. It's a lady here in Norway called Heimlaga Perlegleder. She makes these stitch markers and progress keepers with little beads. So it's a lot of work to make these, but they are so beautiful and she is so talented. I will link her Instagram below if you want to check her out. They're so cute. Yes, so this is my socks so far, and I found I had a little scrap of Sandnes Sisu in the color 5224, which it's a light heather color. And purple heather, I said that right? Yeah. But then I also had a whole ball of Sandnes Sisu in the same color as well, but they were bought at several, or the one was gifted and the other is something that I had in my stash, a scrap. They are the same color, but they look very different. I don't know if you can see it. No, probably not. But this is a lot more gray, I think, than this. But it's much lighter than this, but it's the same color. Yeah, but that doesn't matter for these socks anyway. So now I'm done with this scrap, and I will start and use this together with my hand-dyed for these socks for my friend. So that's a very easy, fast knit to have. Then I wanted to knit on something more. So I got a yarn last year in the mail from a few ladies as a encouragement gift, if you can say that. I had went through some scary health things last year at this time, so they sent me this in the mail, and it's just such a fun yarn. It's called Fargespill by Marte Helgetun. Fargespill, color play in English, and this is 100% merino wool. No, not superwash It's 150 grams, so 540 meters on 150 grams. And it says that one ball of this yarn is enough for a small shawl. So I've just finished a test knit for Anina Yuti, the Breaking Dawn shawl I showed you last time, that I gifted for another friend, and she loves it. She's already used it and it makes me so happy. So I decided to knit one more of the Breaking Dawn shawl. The test knit is still going, so it hasn't been released yet, but it will in a few weeks, and it's such a beautiful shawl. It was so much fun to knit, so I decided to make another one. So I cast on with this yarn. Yours in the pattern, it's used I think 4 colors, but now I am using a color changing yarn, so I'm not changing yarns. I'm just using the same yarn with color changes. Color changes in it, but so I don't know when it's going to change, so I can't control. I could have cut the yarn, of course, but I don't want to do that, so I don't know when the color changes will come, but that's okay. That's a part of the fun. So this is how far I have come. I've just started on the second section of the shawl. In the garter stitch, you're supposed to fade in the new yarn, but since I'm not fading in any yarns, it's just the same color here. So I'm excited to see how this will be. I'm not sure I have enough yarn. I used a little bit more yarn for my other shawl than I have in this. This is 540 meters, and it's not a lot of yarn that I'm missing, but we'll see when I get there what I do. If I try to find another yarn that I can use together with this, or if I will tweak the pattern somehow in the end to finish it off before it's supposed to. We'll see. But this is another stitch marker from the same lady I talked about before. It's a owl. Very cute. Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with this. This yarn is so amazingly soft. Like a hug. I'm knitting on 3.5 millimeter needles, which is recommended in the pattern. On the test knit, I used 2.75 millimeter needles to get gauge because I was test knitting, so I was being a good test knitter. But now since I have done the test knit shawl and I'm done with that, I decided to go for the 3.5 millimeter needles instead, because it doesn't really matter now for me. If it had been a garment, of course, I had to be aware of the size of the needles, but I decided not to think about it now because I wanted a little bit thicker needles to knit on. Yes, so that is my Breaking Dawn shawl, my second one, and I'm enjoying it so much. It's so much fun. So I will tell you when the shawl is releasing, because I highly recommend it. It's such a beautiful shawl. The test knitters have beautiful color choices, so yeah, it's just so beautiful. Having a lot of fun with this. So I haven't acquired any yarnjoy this episode either, so nothing new yarn to share with you. Of course I have plans, but I have so many plans that I don't really know what to cast on next. I feel like I only have small projects right now, So I think there will be maybe a summer garment in my immediate future. I am going on a trip next week. I'm going to Bulgaria. So I need to have some fun but easy knits with me to be knitting on the plane, and when we are there. I'm going without my family, or I'm going with two friends, so that will be nice. So hopefully there will be some time for some knitting. And I can wear my summer knits there because there are like a Norwegian summer there right now, so that is perfect. But actually we are getting better temperatures here as well. The sun has been shining for the last few days, and it's so good. The snow has melted and I hope that we won't get any more snow now. I'm so done with winter and snow. It's still about 0 or a little bit below 0 in the night and in the morning. But when the sun comes up and starts to bring the warmth, it's about, let me see how much is outside right now. It's only 6, 7. Oh, it turned to 7 degrees right now. It's a big sun. Yeah, but we have been up around 14, 15, 16 degrees. It's lovely. Yesterday was the first time this year that I could hang out my laundry, and I love that. I don't like to do laundry. I hate to do laundry and to hang it up, and well, it has to be done, but I don't like it. But yesterday I could hang it outside, and I just love that. When I can put my clean laundry outside, I just feel like it gets so airy and fresh. So I just love that. I'm sure it sounds really strange, but it's just feel like spring has come when I can put out my first laundry outside. Yeah. Yes, but enough about the weather. Otherwise, things are going well here. I'm preparing for a week away, and I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to casting on some spring and summer things. And I packed away all my really hot sweaters, or thick sweaters, like the really woolly ones, and I put in my summer things in my closet. I still need some of my woolly sweaters, but not the really thick ones. They are gone now. And I will find them again when the fall is coming back. But for now, spring and summer, bring it on, please. I'm so ready. Yes. But I think it's time to wrap up this episode. If you have stayed here through all of this rambling, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your beautiful comments and encouraging words, as always. I say it every time, but I'm going to continue to do that because I really, really appreciate it, and it's important for me to let you know that I really, yeah, I'm grateful for all of you who wants to watch my podcast. I hope you all are well. If it's going to be spring where you are, or if you are heading into fall, I hope that you are doing good. and that you are knitting on something fun and exciting, or crocheting or sewing or whatever you love to do. That you are taking care of yourself, taking care of the people around you. And I will talk to you again in a couple of weeks. Next episode, there will be a spring summer planning episode, because that's the day that I come home from my trip, so I won't be able to do a regular podcast that day. So I will have a spring and summer planning episode for you ready to go that day, and I will have a normal podcast episode for you in about 4 weeks. So until then, take care and happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.